Good morning. Here is the news on STEM Radio Vision, Elisha. First, the headlines. Counter-terrorism campaign. Federal government moves to fast-track trial of 5,000 insurgents. Nigeria can capture global supply chain, says Okonjo-Iweala. Governor Deleke pledges support for NAFDAC, encourages whistleblowing against fake drugs. 3,000 athletes, officials for Niger Delta Games in Edo State. EU suspends approval of US trade deal. Now the news in full. I am Chidima Abel. About 5,000 individuals suspected of involvement in terrorism-related activities are currently being held in pre-trial detention facilities across the country. The large number of detainees has created a significant backlog of terrorism cases. This was contained in the 2025-2030 strategic plan of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, a copy of which was obtained by this newspaper on Wednesday. The NCTC disclosed that its legal team, working with the Defense Headquarters and the Federal Ministry of Justice, has been reviewing the files to fast-track prosecutions or dismiss cases lacking sufficient evidence. The NCTC said in 2024, the support provided through this framework led to the prosecution of 393 terrorism-related cases, resulting in 329 convictions. This, it added, pushed Nigeria's conviction rate in terrorism cases to 84%, a sharp increase from 41% recorded in 2018. The NCTC said charges against about 1,200 detainees were reviewed and ultimately dismissed, leading to their release and resettlement into their communities. The Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has said Nigeria must deliberately target global investors and supply chain relocations to drive job creation, deepen manufacturing, and reduce imports dependence. She made the remarks on Wednesday in a short clip posted by Glacier on its X handle from a discussion titled "From Scale to Capital, Financing Nigeria's Role as Africa's Digital Trade and Infrastructure Anchor," held at Nigeria Housing during the ongoing World Economic Forum in Davos. Journalists report the rising geopolitical tensions, particularly between the United States and China, have accelerated supply chain diversification. Firms are increasingly adopting China Plus One sourcing strategies to reduce single-country risk, although China remains deeply embedded in many global value chains. In addition, tariffs and trade restrictions have incentivized companies to reconsider reliance on dominant suppliers, prompting the relocation or diversification of production hubs. Okonjo-Iweala maintained that these disruptions present an opportunity for Nigeria to capture a share of global supply chains, but stressed that this will require aggressive marketing of the country to prospective investors. The Executive Governor for Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has reaffirmed its commitment to working closely with the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) to protect public health and eliminate counterfeit and substandard products across the state. Speaking at the Government House, Okefie-Oshogbo, while receiving the state coordinator of NAFDAC, Osun State Chapter, and members of the managing team, the governor congratulated the new coordinator on the appointment and described the visit as timely, stressing the importance of collaboration between federal agencies and state governments. The governor noted that the activities of NAFDAC remain critical to public health, consumer protection, and economic stability, particularly in addressing the growing menace of fake drugs, substandard food items, and unregulated consumables that pose serious risks to lives and undermine confidence in the healthcare system. Commending NAFDAC's ongoing efforts in enforcement, regulation, and public sensitization, the governor emphasized that effective regulation cannot be achieved in isolation, but through strong cooperation, intelligence sharing, and engagement with security agencies and local communities. Assuring NAFDAC of full support, Governor Ademola Adeleke said Osun State would continue to partner with the agency to strengthen enforcement, improve public awareness, and ensure compliance with regulatory standards in markets and healthcare facilities across the state. Over 3,000 athletes and officials will participate in the second Niger Delta Games in Edo State from February 20 to 27. The event, which will feature 17 sports, including football, and a cultural night, is being sponsored by the Niger Delta Development Commission. Chairman of Dunamis Icons Limited, organizers of the Niger Delta Games, Itiako Ikpokpo, disclosed this during an interactive session with journalists in Benin on Wednesday. He said the participating athletes, who must not exceed 20 years of age, must be indigenous with proof of local government of origin of the participating state. While noting the grassroots is at the local government level, Ikpokpo advised that effort should be made to take the talent hunt to the grassroots level to discover more sport talent for the country. He also called in the Nigerian Football Federation to look beyond Uyo Stadium for hosting international football games and come to Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, which he said is as good as the Uyo Stadium. And now the foreign scene. The European Parliament has suspended the approval of a key U.S. trade deal agreed in July in protest against Donald Trump's demand to take over Greenland. The suspension was announced in Strasbourg, France, on Wednesday as the U.S. president addressed the World Economic Forum in Davos. The move followed renewed trade tensions between the U.S. and Europe sparked by Trump's bid to acquire Greenland, which had rattled financial markets, reviving talk of a trade war and the possibility of retaliation against the U.S. Hours later, Trump said on social media he had reached a framework deal on Greenland's future and will not carry a threat to put new tariffs on 8 NATO members. Trade tensions between the U.S. and Europe had eased since the two sides struck a deal at Trump's Trumberry golf course in Scotland in July. That agreement set U.S. levies on most European goods at 15%, down from the 30% Trump had initially threatened as part of his Liberation Day wave of tariffs in April. In exchange, Europe had agreed to invest in the U.S. and make changes on the continent expected to boost U.S. exports. And now, to end the news, here is a recap of our stories. We thought it out about 5,000 individuals suspected of involvement in terrorism-related activities are currently being held in pre-trial detention facilities across the country. We also told you that the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has said Nigeria must deliberately target global investors and supply chain relocations to drive job creation. The Executive Governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has reaffirmed its commitment to working closely with the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control to protect public health and eliminate counterfeit and substandard products across the state. Over 3,000 athletes and officials will participate in the second Niger Delta Games in Edo State from February 20 to 27. Lastly, we thought that the European Parliament has suspended the approval of a key U.S. trade deal agreed in July in protest against Donald Trump's demand to take over Greenland. That ends the news on Esteem Radio Vision, Elisha, Osun State, Nigeria. The news was edited by Unwayo Ajiboye and was brought to you by Chidima Abel. For sponsorship and advert placement, please contact us on 0916-634-9956. You can also follow us on all the social media platforms, on Facebook at Esteem Radio Vision, on YouTube at Esteem Studio. Thanks for listening. Good morning.